Millionaire Success Habit by Dean Graziosi. Chapter 1. The time is right to change your habits. Here is the thing, when it comes to confidence and taking courageous action, so much of that is going to have to come from what you believe you should do. Through being able to hear and distinguish your heart's call, how your intuition speaking to you, that small voice inside that says, you know what, pick up the phone and make the call, or this is the next actions to take. Mari Forleo interview with Dean Graziosi. This is a volatile, even crazy time in American history, from the influence of division politicians whom people feel they cannot trust to the negativity toward entrepreneurs who work hard and make a lot of money. Societal norms are changing. As I noted earlier, most people will tell you that they feel they are working harder and faster to get things done, but too little effect. They strive to move up the ladder of success, and yet for some reason it just is not happening. Do you feel like you're not getting the result you desire or deserve? Well, besides technology affecting this outcome, another factor exists that you may not even be aware of. The good news is that you are not crazy for feeling like all your effort is for naught. It's not your fault. Let's see what's really to blame. Productivity versus income. In doing my research for this book, one statistic on productivity grabbed my attention the most. If you look at the graph about productivity, you will see that for many years, productivity and wages were going up unliterally on a step 45 degrees angle. However, as 1973 rolled around, things changed and wages went flat, but productivity remained on the same incline. And what does that mean? Massive gap between wages and productivity suggests it means we are getting more done as a society, yet income has not reflected this output. So, when you feel like you are working harder and faster and using today's technology to accomplish more, you are. However, wages are simply not keeping up. And that's why you feel busier than ever and squeezed financially. The unfortunate fact is that the gap continues to widen. We can ignore it and blame others, or we can create the habit that multiply the income and success in our own homes. The middle class is taking a serious hit. Some even say we are going toward a two-class society. And now I know that politicians and those pushing their agendas have harped on this point, but I'm localizing the conversation. I'm talking about how it affects the economy in your house and within your family. I'm not bashing the wealthy. In this book, I'm giving you the habits to become wealthy or increase the wealth you already have. But the statistics don't lie. If you are not prepared and armed with the right tools, the shift that is happening in America could greatly affect you. New measurement of success. You see, I have to believe statistics, and if they are blaming to you, great. More reason to continue reading and take action in your life. But what is even more alarming is what the term middle class means these days. If you and your spouse make $120,000 a year combined, that means you are in the middle class. But should we cheer? What if one of you is working two jobs and the other has to put in extra time during the weekend? Sure, you might have a nice car, a beautiful house, vacation, and some other cool stuff, but maybe the kids are in daycare and you rarely get to spend time with them. Maybe you and your spouse haven't had quality time together in a while because you are just too busy. Maybe you and your spouse are, in fact, less engaged with each other because when you talk, it's between email and text messages. Maybe you have your own business and feel overwhelmed every day, and these are just a few scenarios of many, but my point is simple. Is this truly the middle class you want to strive for? It's time to redefine the middle class. More specifically, we need to stop talking about the unfulfilled middle and the empowered middle. We need the same type of redefinition for the upper and lower class. It doesn't really matter if you believe the middle class is disappearing, if you are doing okay financially but have a horrible quality of life, or if you are not living up to your full potential. This is not what life is meant to be about. Having money and no livestock, and having no money and wishing you could create a livestock. And I'm going to continue to tell you the truth of this book that with the right habits, it does not matter where the economy is and what's happening to the class system in this country or who the president is. What matters is that you dance to your own beat and remember you want to become the thermostat, not the thermometer. In that way, you are in control of your personal economy and lifestyle. You can shape both to fit your requirement in a way that is meaningful and fulfilling. And as this goal is more than just a possibility when you believe in and have the right habit. Money is not evil. In my years of traveling and meeting thousands of my students firsthand, I've discovered that many of them have a limiting belief that money is somehow bad, and this idea may have arisen from many sources. An anti-materialistic parent, a political ideology, or a religious doctrine. So before we get any further, let's address this concept and make sure we have some clarity around it. Getting wealthy may not cure every problem, but it sure can cure a lot of them. When you secure the economy in your household, then you can go out to dinner more, get someone to pick up your dry cleaning, hire someone to clean your house, pay off debt, buy a new house, take a vacation, and give to charity. You can also allow your spouse to retire, enabling another person to fill his or her job and gain the income you no longer need. So, whether you want to help change the economy in the world or you are simply curious about what the next level of life would look like for you and your family, I believe this is the greatest time in history for you to gain what you desire. And let's face it, capitalism is getting a bad name. Entrepreneurs are sometimes seen as a greedy and immoral rather than a crucial to our economic system. It sounds crazy to those of us who believe in the system, but it's a belief that has taken hold in a certain segment of society. But here is the real truth. Money earned ethically allows you to do the incredible things for the world. Just about every single billionaire and super successful multimillionaire I know made the money to secure a great life, and then they had a massive impact on the world. Most billionaires employ thousands of people. They also have family members and parents retire and support their kids as they move on in their lives. They help build churches, deliver water to places that they don't have it, and create charities and help fund them, often without asking for any public recognition. Because I wrote, money earned ethically can have incredible byproduct benefits for friends, family, and the world. If you are reading this book or listen this audiobook, you have a desire for more in life. Go make yourself wealthy, become secure, and watch how much good you can do for the world. Here is something else to think about. Society seems to be looking down on capitalism, entrepreneurship, and making money. Simultaneously, a lack of money causes more stress in people's life than any other one thing in this world. Experts say most divorces are caused by money problem, and that most people on anti-anxiety pills admit that it's because of financial worries. Most people who don't feel connected to their children or spouse claim it's because of a lack of money, time, or having a job they hate. Have you ever worried about money? Of course you have. Do I have enough? Am I enough? This question can rattle anyone's cage. Here is what one of my mentors taught me. If you can cut a check for a problem, you don't have the problem. Repeat it like a mantra. If you can cut a check for the problem, you don't have that problem. If you have bills that you are stressed over, you cut a check and that problem goes away. Worried about your kids' college education? Cut a check. That problem goes away. Worried about the parent getting old and not having enough for retirement? Cut a check and let your parents retire, like I did. Are you worried about your future? Cut a check. That problem goes away. Is your business not doing as well as it could? Cut a check and the problem goes away. Don't tell me money cannot solve issues. When you get money out of the way, you are allowed to be your best self. And think of this way. If I was sitting next to you right now and squeeze your throat, the only thing you want to think about is oxygen. But prior to that, I'm guessing taking your next breath of air was not occupying your mind. You just go about every day knowing it's there. The reason people are stressed about money is because they are being squeezed by the amount coming in contrasted with how much they need to live the life they desire. When worrying about money comes off your plate, you have the opportunity to be your best self. By shifting certain habit in your life, you will allow abundance and prosperity to flow to you in ways that might seem impossible at this moment. No magic money machine in this book, and there is no button you are going to push. Your mailbox will be filled with checks, but what you're going to push to get are simple recipe ideally suited to the complex time in which we live. They cut through all the confusion of modern life and provide a straight line between where you are now and where you want to be. Have you ever wondered how two people could be brought up in a similar environment, work in the same field, have similar job, and yet one of them is making twice as much as the other? Or why one person may excel at his job but then live and do his own thing while the other person says, oh, but the economy is bad and the president and Congress and my boss is holding me back. Two people to completely different life result. The reason, the person who took his or her life to the next level had different daily habit than the one who sits back and simply wishes and hopes for more. Throughout this book, you are going to see this habit in action and be excited about each and every one of them. And like I said earlier, it doesn't matter where you are coming from, it only matters where you want to go. Don't let go of the wheel. I want to end this chapter with a story I've been sharing for years. Imagine a farmer gets up every single day and he puts his grain on the back of the tractor. He puts the tractor in gear, he drives out a mile into the pasture to feed the cows, and they all come running. He dumps the feed and goes back to the barn. If he gets up every single day for 10, 15, 20 years and starts the tractor, puts the feed on, puts in the gear and goes out of the same field, what will eventually happen? He will build ruts on the path to the cow. Eventually, he could just get up, throw the grain on the back, and start the tractor, put in the gear, and let go of the wheel. The tractor will take him right out to that same spot he's been going to for years. Apply this story to your life and ask, have I let go of the wheel? Do I have ruts that keep me doing the same thing every day? It does not necessarily mean your entire life is in a rut, but that you might unconsciously do the same thing daily expecting a different result. Do you have habits that make every day the same while you simultaneously hope an outside factor will change it? Maybe you're waiting for a shift in the economy, a person to intervene on your behalf, or fate to present you with this winning lottery ticket. Have you become the thermometer instead of the thermostat? I'm not judging. It happens to us all. Most people have let go of the wheel, but it doesn't have to stay that way. So here is what's important about that farmer story. To change that farmer's direction, to change his destination, he doesn't have to make a dramatic 180-degree turn. It's not like a New Year's resolution where you feel the need to change everything about yourself. You don't have to wake up tomorrow morning and start an entirely new routine. Do yoga and then meditate and then practice gratitude for an hour. Yes, all those things are worthwhile, but all you have to do tomorrow is put yourself in the position of that farmer and turn that wheel a quarter of an inch, just a tiny step. If he got up tomorrow and turned that wheel a quarter of an inch, by the time he got a mile in the field, he wouldn't even be able to see his old feeding grounds because he would be so far away, and those ruts would be no more because he would be craving a new path, a quarter inch at a time. I know that there are other things you could be doing besides reading this book or watching television, watching podcasts, or reading this audiobook, going to a sport event, doing chores, but those things are always going to be there. Would you rather change a light bulb or your life? Getting rich is not about the magic pill that puts money in your bank account for doing nothing. It's not about hitting the lotto. It's not about waiting for someone to do something for you. It's about changing your habit and your thoughts. And you can start today. As John Paul DeJoria says, the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is that successful people do the thing the unsuccessful people don't want to do. I would add that successful people have a core set of habits that propel them. The average person confuses success with luck, but luck has nothing to do with it. Millionaire success habits too. And now let's look at where you are in your life and where you want to go. Chapter 2, the foundation for all success. Where the heck are you going in your life? That is, many people struggle with these seemingly obvious questions. Want to see the evidence of this struggle? During the week, ask 5 random people what they don't want out of a life. I can all but guarantee they will have a sizable list. It will be as if they metaphorically lick their finger, clear their throat as if about to make some life-altering announcement, grab their figurative list and begin to enumerate the item on it. I don't want to stay at the same income level and job I have now. I don't want my spouse to nag me about money and time spent at home. I don't want to keep driving this same crappy car for another year. The I don't wants always flow out easily. So easily that sometimes they seem like they have been rehearsed. It's as if people are constantly thinking about them. And why is that? Because they are. So after you ask these people what they don't want out of life, they are ticking off the 5th or 6th item. Stop abruptly, pause for a second, and say, okay, I understand what you don't want out of life, and now let me ask you this: what do you want of life? This is where things get interesting. After you ask this question, you will see puzzlement followed by a crisp row. They're starting to think about what you asked, and their reaction will be the polar opposite of the reaction that they have when you ask what they don't want out of life. Many people will respond, well, that's a good question. I will have to think about that one. It's like they are saying, I am in a fast car. I'm driving 100 miles per hour and I know for sure I don't want to go to Florida, Texas, or Arizona, but I'm not sure where I actually do want to go. What happens then? You end up nowhere. You end up out of a gas and unable to reach your destination because you only know where you don't want to go. Sounds pretty simple, right? Maybe you're saying, oh boy, Dean, is that the grand wisdom you have for me? Actually, it's a huge part of it, but you have to wrap your head around what the wisdom really is. Once you understand it, you will see why this may be the biggest reason you are holding yourself back from breaking through to the next level. So let me ask you a question. Do you know anyone who fits this description? Someone who has an easier time expressing what they don't want out of life than expressing what they do want. Maybe a friend, a relative, or a spouse who goes through life this way. Maybe even someone a little closer to you, that someone that you see when you look in the mirror after rolling out of bed each morning. You see what's crazy about today's society is that everybody is racing around with the Ferrari brains, but no one has her GPS on. And here is the unfortunate truth for a society like this. It doesn't matter how fast you can go. It doesn't matter how much passion you have. It does not matter how much energy you put into something. If you don't have the vision and clarity on the destination you want to reach, you will simply never get there. The reason I call it a Ferrari brain is because you can buy the most expensive Ferrari in the world and drive as fast as you possibly can. But if don't know where you are going, you will get nowhere quickly. Would you rather drive a Ferrari off a cliff at 200 miles per hour or driving a Prius to the promised land? In the next section, I'm going to share one of the most important millionaire success habits of them all. It's a habit that I have shared with my student for past 20 plus years, and a habit I will share until I cannot share anymore. Look, where are you? Don't lie. Before I ask you to take stock of your life at this moment, let me make a request. Be honest here. And throughout the book, I'm going to be asking you some tough questions. Don't try to answer what you think I want to hear or want makes you feel good. This is what most people do without thinking, and tough. I understand the reflect. I would like you to think about the importance of being truthful. It's only once we are honest with ourselves that we can move onward and upward to our dreams, aspiration, and desire. So, with that thought in mind, let's start where you are in your life right this second. What does that mean exactly? What I don't mean is for you to answer it literally that you are reading or listening this on your couch or in vacation or in the bathroom. I'm not talking about where you are physically. What I mean is, what situation are you currently experiencing in your life? Why are you reading or listening this audiobook? Maybe you're struggling with the feeling of having an untapped potential, or you fear you are living in just an okay life rather than the life of your dreams. Maybe you're trying to find something that can secure your finance because your back is again the wall and the market and student loan are kicking your backside. Maybe you just want to start something new to help change your life for the better. If you can relate to any of this situation, great. Maybe you're just getting out of college or going through college and you are confused about your future. If so, congratulations for being at this place in your life. Maybe you think it's time to reinvent yourself completely. Maybe you're just sick of listening to someone giving you order at the same mundane job you have had for a decade. If so, congratulations. Maybe you're a business owner who is ready for more profit, ready for that next level, or ready to get the secret that can catapult you to the next level. If so, I congratulate you for being here as well. I suggest that this example to help you think about your own situation as well as to reassure you that wherever you are at in your life, you are not alone. So dig deep and just be honest with yourself. Sometimes we pretend that everything is okay. We forget what really matters. You must try to break down that everything is okay mindset and write down what really is in your heart. In fact, stop listening this right now and take a yellow pad or your phone or your computer and make a note of where am I in life. You can go beyond just your finances and write down where you are in the different areas of your life that matter most: love, intimacy, health, your career, and your family. Go ahead and break out these areas on a piece of paper, and next to each one, describe where you are. Don't write other people's perception of you. Instead, when you look in the mirror and you are dead honest with yourself, where are you? Before we can create your ideal destination, we need to know your starting point, right? Get clear on where you want to go. Here is a story that will help you think about where you want to end up versus the place you don't. A dear friend took a courage group of 18 boys on an adventure trip to Durango, Colorado, where they planned to go whitewater rafting. When they arrived, the guide informed them that the rapids were higher and stronger than they had been in many years, and rapids range on a scale from 1 to 5. And most of the ones they were going to experience were 4s. Anxious about their safety, the guide made them do practice drill many times. And during the first mile of the adventure, the guide kept hammering into their heads on one idea. The positive point, he said. Boys, when I point, I will always be pointing to where we want to go. I will never point at the downed tree we could get caught on or the jagged rock that could puncture the raft. If I pointed to what we didn't want to hit, that's where all your focus would go, and I assure you we would run right into it. Don't worry if you get even inches from the rock. You just focus on the positive point and use all your energy and attention to get us there. With this positive point to guide them, their minds focus on the solution, steering into clearing rather than the obstacle, crashing into the rock. The chance of them actually getting in trouble decreased substantially. And yes, it's easier said than done, but once you begin focusing on what you do want rather than on what you don't want, it becomes a success habit that can completely change the outcome of so many things in your life. When this chapter's lesson become a part of you, you might look at the chalk rock for a second when something goes wrong, but then you will immediately look for that clearing, the positive point. And the more you practice this, the more likely you will look only at the clearing when life puts you in a spin. For years I have taught this truth. When you focus on the outcome rather than the obstacle, your life will never be the same. How do you think John Paul DeJory and the richest man and the woman in the world became so successful? By having a clear vision of where they wanted to go and then taking action towards it. Most of us want more out of life, but we are not specific enough with our intention, so we don't know how to get there. And that's why you may be sidetracked by phone calls and email, and it It's why you may feel disorganized, stressed, or overwhelmed. It's why you may have the feeling that America is just not about the same as it used to be. There is no opportunity for you to go that next level, and completely false belief. There is more opportunity now than ever before, and this might be one of the greatest time in history to get ahead of the curve. And however, first of the foremost, you must have your destination locked in and create the map you need to get to that next level of life. And once you have a truly crystal clear vision, things that once bug you or slow you down no longer have any power to stop you from achieving your goal.